What is the weirdest thing you have ever heard in a public place? We were at the library for some writing when a guy on the phone at a nearby table suddenly said, "Yeah, baby, I still love Sharknado." He said it so sincerely, like he was trying to defuse a possible fight. Standing in an elevator, headed to the ground floor of a Atlantic City hotel. Two guys get on dragging their bags and looking very hungover. Quiet. One guy says to his friend, "Things will go back to normal once we get home." His friend says back, "Not after that." Heard a guy saying to another guy coming out of a gas station, "He wears a scarf around his neck so you can't see where he's decaying." I have never been so painfully curious. I stole a chainsaw and now I don't know what to do with it. Someone was taking a shit and eating and talking on the phone. I was disgusted and impressed with the multitasking. Dropping a coffee off to my girlfriend at work. Guy out front of the studio is on the phone and the brief bit I caught was, "I didn't mean to have sex with that sister." Whoops. I heard a girl talking on the phone and the conversation went something like this. "So I was sitting outside on a park bench, talking on the phone, when suddenly a chipmunk fell right into my hand. Like it fell directly into my hand and I got so freaked out that I threw it as far as I could. I literally launched a chipmunk across the park." I was having dinner in a Thai restaurant and overheard a blind date in the booth behind me. "Well, thank you, but I'm going to get going." "Oh, already? I'll walk you out." "No, stay here and enjoy your beer. Can I call you later?" Long pause. "I'll have to let you know." Man and woman examining a parcel they just picked up from the post office. Woman. Examining label, Ukraine? What have you been ordering now? Man. Oh, that'll be the gas masks. I'll keep you updated on the blowjob front. I recently overheard a group of 20-somethings talking about this giant octopus in our nearby aquarium. One of the guys swore to the others that the octopus was otherworldly, and that it basically took over his mind for several hours while he sat in a trance, watching it. There were two women in front of me at the queue in the bank and I could overhear them talking when one of them said, "I can't wait to fuck my boyfriend later," to which the other replied, "Normally or with your strap on." My life has never been the same. Walking down the street I overheard guy in a suit on the phone saying, "I just figured we'd better talk about the sandwich thing cause I have a feeling it's going to come to a head pretty fast. I cannot conceive of any sandwich thing that could do that." Well, he wasn't very happy with me, so, needless to say, I masturbated all over it. I once heard a group of elderly women who were talking about some man still covered in, smelling like, pussy juice. I was walking behind a pair of teenagers once. One asked the other, "Do you know what chlamydia is?" After a long pause the other replied, "Yeah, it's that board game in it." I still laugh thinking about it. In college, I was taking a psychology class. The professor was asking students about what makes them upset. One girl raised her hand quickly, and went on a rant about the good-for-nothing, useless piece of shit that got her pregnant. She ranted for 5 minutes about how he doesn't pay child support, never wants to see his daughter, but keeps trying to get back in her pants even though she knows he's already gotten at least 2 other girls pregnant. The professor, an older woman, was a little taken aback, and tried to give her advice, saying that group therapy between them would be beneficial, and that while a romantic relationship was probably not a good idea, a good civil relationship as parents was necessary, and that he should understand that as a parent he has both emotional and financial obligations to his daughter. Then she said, "Do you think that is something he would be open to?" To which the girl replied, "I don't know. Why don't you ask him? He's sitting right over there." Poor son of a bitch was in the class lol. At a huge outlet mall in Pennsylvania, there was a little girl and her rather rough-looking mom. The little girl was saying, "But mom, why do we have to lie? I'm pretty sure they were about to scam the shit out of the place." Walking around campus, I overheard one dude tell another, "Yeah, but my foreskin is bigger than yours." Not that strange I guess, but I was in the bathroom at a Target once and I heard a kid in the stall say, "Daddy, are you pooing?" And the dad in a sad, defeated voice replied, "Sigh, yeah." Oh man. I have 2-1 visiting Central Park during my first time to NYC. I'm walking around when a female cop is walking up to a homeless guy drinking some water out of a water fountain. She seemed to know him. No, Charles, you don't drink that water. Ain't you seen RoboCop? 2 visiting New Orleans for Mardi Gras. We are driving around looking for a place to eat and this stereotypical-looking Caucasian family is getting out of their SUV. This tall black dude holding a tall boy beer in a paper bag in his right hand, and an empty 10-gallon paint bucket in his left hand, is walking up towards them. We were driving by with the windows down at a slow speed, so I just heard him start his sentence with, "I know I'm black and I'm holding a bucket, my buddy," and I couldn't stop laughing from that because it just sounded so odd. For a while we would just start sentences about anything with, "I know I'm black and I'm carrying a bucket." I heard 2 girls arguing over what year it was. They decided, eventually, that it was 2007. It was 2010. The guy behind me loudly proclaimed he had to take a gnarly piss. To this day I don't know what quantifies a piss as gnarly, but hey. Overheard at my university student center. I've been having sex for years and not once has anyone told me I was doing it wrong. The bus driver told his wife that he did not know how to justify himself to his daughter for accidentally feeding the fish with rat poison. You ever tell anyone I tipped you? I'll kill you. I swear it. I'll kill you. Said to me by customer in my taxi while he was strangling me. Here is the whole story of that night which I made into a GTA film. While I told the story, https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=rhp7yups_gg. My coworker turned the corner with the phrase, "Giant glob of puss," right in my mouth. I just didn't even want to know. Walking downtown in Georgia one Saturday night, when I heard this gem of a conversation coming from this group of girls as I passed. Girl 1. What's the most amount of guys you've fucked in one night? Girl 2. I think. 6. Girl 1. At the same time? Girl 2. No, Julie. I'm not a slut. Sitting in a restaurant years ago and overheard another diner say, and he just keeps hiring family members into government jobs. That's necrophilia. I was walking with my friend and we heard a kid shout, "Call me Chicken Kiev." We laughed about it for the rest of the walk. A woman on a phone in line. She has clearly seen better days, but aside from that you can tell she's all about business. Don't come up in here bitching to me about your problems. I don't got time for your crying and shit. I'm your side piece. You got a woman for that shit, Fuick. I overheard 2 girls in front of me at the school library. Girl 1. My boyfriend's such a bastard. He cheated on me. Girl 2. Why don't you just leave him then? Girl 1. Because I've cheated on him so many times that it wouldn't be fair. Walking past a guy in Glasgow who was talking on the phone who said, somewhat frantically, "There's 20 grand in a shoebox on the back seat." Who keeps 20 grand in a shoebox and then leaves it sitting? Some Indian dude was teaching his kid how to put together one of those multi-use screwdrivers and the kid figured it out. So the father says, "See son, just like sliding an enema in, I went fetal position right in the middle of Rona." An old lady to another old lady on the bus. I tried reading the Kama Sutra. I thought it would be erotic but it just made me very angry. In the library, a dude on his phone. "No dad, I'm sure I didn't catch it through anal sex. Tears of joy, tears of joy." My cousin-in-law is from Austria. Apparently in Austria they don't talk on the phone in open public as much as we do in Australia, and they aren't as blatant in what they're talking about. One day she was waiting at the bus stop when a young woman was on the phone with her mother. The conversation from the daughter's end was something like, "Mum, I need you to buy me a morning after pill. I haven't got any money left." TBF, that's a bit extreme for most Australians to speak about openly at a bus stop too, but it stood out more for her edit. "Right now my stepdad is talking on the phone to my stepbrother who's telling him that his wife might be pregnant again. Stepdad said, 'You need to tell your fat controller that he needs to pull out of the station on time.'" Not sure what the Thomas the Tank Engine reference is about, but it sure sounds loud sitting here in front of my whole family. Walking behind them between gates, I overheard one stewardess say to the other, "Yes, I'm still seeing him. I like him because he licks like a lesbian." About a month ago in Walmart in the sporting goods section I was standing by a big bin of Nerf footballs. Approaching is a woman and a boy about 7 or 8 years old. Boy. Can I have a football? Woman. No. Boy. Why? Woman. Because you've already eaten 5 of them this year. Me. De. I've got 2. Both while I was on carts, janitor duty at a grocery store. First one, there was a group of 3 or 4 teenage boys in the handicap stall reading the first act of Romeo and Juliet aloud. This was before Vines and TikTok, so I doubt it was part of some viral thing. Second, another group of teens was having a very heated argument in our cafe over whether or not Indians should be considered Asian. I was walking through town at Christmas. Lots of people about and I pass an old couple just as a woman says to I'm guessing her husband. No one thinks you're dead, Harold. Who thinks you're dead? Ooh snazzle cakes ooh sniffy sniff. To this day I've always wondered what the gent meant by that. He was not eating, or crazy. Just a dude walking. 2 women in line for coffee in a town near Big Sur. I just love it down there, it's so peaceful on the coast. Yeah. But the goat sacrifice was heavy. I dunno, I hope I didn't seem triggered or anything. Oh no, not at all. I mean, it can be intense the first time, so I don't think anyone really cared. One that still makes me laugh to think about to this day. I was about 14 and at the river with my dad just enjoying a nice summer day. This family with twin sons maybe 3 or 4 years old is hanging around within earshot of us. The dad is trying to teach the boys how to skip rocks. Dad. See, you find a nice flat rock and then you throw it like this. No, not at your brother. I was at a Dollar Tree when I was in middle school, and I passed a family in the checkout lane as one of the kids grabs a pregnancy test and goes, "Look, Mom. I found a new candy. It's called Preg Nancy." I didn't hear the mother's response because I was already across the store by then and I was laughing my ass off. I was shopping at Best Buy a few years back near Christmas. In the checkout line there was a deaf mom, yelling at her 2 teenage daughters in sign language. She was quite animated and obviously upset. In the middle of this sign language rant, the daughters both turned their back to the mom and started badmouthing her. The rage I saw on that mom's face was frightening. I thought I was about to be witness to a double homicide. Heard a guy on the bus talking about killing his grandmother, then ending the sentence with, hypothetically speaking. Doubt he was being hypothetical with the tone of his voice. When I was changing for swimming with my 7-year-old daughter, at a public pool, she loudly exclaimed, "Daddy, your willy looks like Squidward's nose." A woman on the phone at the airport. No, they shouldn't be playing with a dead squirrel. Drink, damn it. Just drink it. Which wouldn't have been that weird. Except when I looked up to where I heard the voice coming from. It was a second-floor apartment window, where a woman was trying to get a very large lizard to drink from a glass of water. I started laughing because, WTF? She heard me, glared at me, and yelled, "Fuck you. I love Chicago." A woman telling her husband, "I want you to push me around and call me meatballs." I watched a play at a university and in front of the stage there was a sign language translator. At one part of the play, I can't remember what part or what play, the interpreter had an extremely angry expression and repeatedly fondled her breasts. I started laughing really hard and people looked at me. I don't think the part of the play was supposed to be funny. Walmart. Was at the register when the cashier and the guy in front of me were talking to one another. Clearly they knew each other. Guy had a box of condoms and pregnancy test kits. Cashier noticed them and made a joke about how big the condoms are and if his girlfriend is expecting. Guy says no, and once he's done paying, he hands the items to her. Guy says this, "She might be pregnant with your husband's kid, and tell him if he's gonna fuck my girlfriend, wear a condom and don't make a mess of my place." He leaves and the cashier is just a seething mess of anger and walks off. I go to another register but I was so tempted to follow her just to see what she'd do. I was on a train once and this girl behind me was on the phone for about an hour. In that time she mentioned that the night before she really wanted a Chinese for tea, so got her boyfriend to order one, but he got her rice with prawns and she hates prawns, so she threw the whole lot away and now hasn't eaten for 24 hours and it's his fault. She then proceeded to tell the person on the phone that her friend's brother had been shot a few days ago and isn't answering his phone. I'm in the UK, so this was quite uncommon. And how her and his sister planned to visit all the hospitals when they got home 'cause they hadn't heard from him. The subjects changed every 5 minutes and she spoke very loudly the whole time, much to my entertainment. I was in Germany and this American guy was loudly telling a story that involved him taking massive amounts of drugs and drinking, and getting hookers, and then being unable to perform due to his intoxication. He explained everything loudly in great vulgar detail. I think he was under the impression that he was sitting in a town square in Germany and no one could understand him. But there I was, with my dad, about 6 feet away. Just recently at a nail salon. This woman came in like chicken with her head cut off demanding for her acrylics to be removed. There's fungus growing under there. There's fungus growing under there. She was so loud about it. I got worried for a second about my own nail health, but turns out she got her nails done at another salon and came to this one for help. Turns out there wasn't any fungus, just some bad-looking nails. What was concerning though, was that the lady that was removing the acrylics was simultaneously working on another customer and going back and forth between the two. This was before she found out for sure that there was no fungus. Really concerning, and I don't think I'll be back. I was drinking in a pizza, sports bar. One table over a drunk guy is talking loudly about how he accidentally, drunk, fucked a guy that looked like a girl. The whole bar can hear this. About 20 minutes pass and his waitress makes a joke about switching tables so her guy co-worker can serve him. He instantly got pissed off and accused his friend of telling the waitress his story and tried to fight him. One female sailor to another while waiting for my number to be called in the personnel office. I gotta be honest, if it turns him on, I'll let him pee in my hair. My neighbor woman's friend around 10 p.m. as they enter the building. Just let me scrub up my pits and my vag and I'll be ready to go back out. Before a district court hearing, shortly before it was pointed out to the attorney that there were consultation rooms available. So that's your defense? He may be a drug dealer and a convicted sex offender, but he's not a thief. A couple having an argument in a pub on the next table that got louder and louder and culminated in the woman yelling, "Then why won't you eat my pussy?" Story from a friend. She was browsing the tampon aisle. A random woman comes up to her, points to one of the budget brands and says, "Don't buy those ones, they come out when you cough." Thanks for watching. See you later.